Start off with our first questioner is Representative Delozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here and answering a lot of questions that I know people have on PHEAA. There's been a lot of information put out there on PHEAA recently. It's been in the news a lot, good and bad, and a lot of court hearings. And as a disclaimer, I do sit on the board, so I have the luxury of being able to have heard a lot of the background dealing with PHEAA, but there's a lot of really good things happening at PHEAA. And one of the programs that I have always asked about and have pushed tremendously is the Ready to Succeed program. I know we have grant programs, which are great programs for low-income students. Ready to Succeed was something that was instituted not too long ago. For the folks that are a little bit, make too much for the grant program, but don't make enough certainly to write the checks. And I think it's a good balance. So I wanted to ask you a few questions about that. You had asked for a little over $5 million, and that was $5 million was used last year. Did we use all that $5 million? And can you tell me the types of families that receive this?
Thank you, Representative. Yes, we did use all $5 million. The program is overprescribed. We do have to deny students. If we would want to fully fund the program, it would be roughly $7 million to $8 million.
Okay, and so is there a waiting list type thing, or I mean, you have to apply each year, my understanding. Do you keep a waiting list for those that are eligible, or is it, how does that work?
Yes, so we look at all of the eligible students who meet the requirements of the minimum GPA of 3.5 and have family incomes up to $110,000, and then because that population exceeds the available funding, we next look at the order in which the students applied for financial aid that's need-based.
Okay, so early birds get the worm.
That's right.
Okay, and the ability for us in dealing with Ready to Succeed, many times we have talked about the issue that students that don't get a Ready to Succeed grant or don't get a low-income grant, one of the things that the state has been able to, as we know with PHEAA, and many people don't realize, is that we have been a servicer here in the state and service many other people's loans and other states' loans to earn income. But PHEAA, as my understanding, is getting back into the loans and the business to be able to help additional students here in Pennsylvania. It is a transition that PHEAA is going through. So, Mr. Seeley, I know that you are the new CEO. If you could please inform us about this new loan program and also the benefit of it. One of the things that I think is a strong point is it's much lower in percentage in loan than the federal program. So I think that that's a strength that we will be able to offer our Pennsylvania residents, but also just what the plans are, how many students we would plan on serving here in Pennsylvania, and the benefits of this program.
Thank you, Representative Delozier. So one of the things I'm probably most excited about that PHEAA is currently working on is our new loan program. PHEAA at its core, when we were created in the early 60s, one of the prime reasons we were created was to finance education. And PHEAA itself has not actually funded a loan in about 11 years. First, it was because of the financial crisis, and then it was because the vehicle that we lent through, the Federal Family Education Loan Program, ended in 2010. What's interesting, since 2010, PHEAA has mostly been focused on being a federal servicer and using any earnings to give back to the grant program. What excites me with the loan program is it really gets us back to one of the core reasons we were created. And it also helps really expand the audience that benefits from the public service side of PHEAA. If you think about the grant program, I view the grant program as very much targeted towards lower and middle, a little bit into the middle income families of Pennsylvania. The loan program is really focused solely on the middle income families of Pennsylvania. It is going to be a credit-based program. Unlike the FELP program, it's not federally guaranteed, meaning PHEAA is going to be exposed to credit risk. That in turn means we will have to perform underwriting. But as a result of that, we believe that we will be able to access the capital markets at a relatively at a relative cost advantage compared to, and be able to pass that on to loan recipients compared to some of the other programs out there.
And that means, I'm sorry, that means lower interest rates then for that loan.
And then also, I'll just compare and contrast it to the Federal Plus program. So typically, we always want people to borrow the Stafford options, both the subsidized and unsubsidized loans. Those are very the cost of those programs are excellent. Unfortunately, the caps on those programs, and those are federal programs, are relatively low. And that's where, when we looked at the environment across Pennsylvania, there was about a $2 billion unmet need. So after people applied for financial aid, borrowed from the federal government through Stafford, they had about a $2 billion funding need. And we see about half of that being filled through the PLUS program. We also see about half of that being filled through the private sector. PLUS program, the interest rate for the current year is about 7.5%, and there's, I believe, 4.25% origination fees. So 4.25% right off the top is an origination cost. Our loan program, if we would have floated municipal issuance this year for the 18-19 year, we would have been able to be off. We would have had loans somewhere in the 4% to 7% range, no origination fees. We've built in a 0.5 percentage point discount when students complete their education and when they graduate, and another 0.25% discount if they sign up for direct debit ACH. So it's really, from a benefit to the people of Pennsylvania, we believe it has a high potential to benefit folks, particularly in the middle income group.
Thank you very much. I know that there's a big gap there, people trying to help their kids or students that are trying to find ways to fund college. So thank you very much. My time has run out. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.